Thank you so much for joining us for a special Innovate That podcast, coming to you live from this year's Global Entrepreneurship Congress being held in Indianapolis, Indiana. And today I am joined by Wade Dunn with Gradient and Kristin Garcia with The Verge out of Oklahoma City. So one of the things that we have seen here is each of us represent very unique assets within our entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we have the opportunity to work with fantastic founders and startups all across the state of Oklahoma. And one thing that I will say is if any single organization says that they can be everything to everyone, I hate to be negative, but they're lying. They're lying to you. Rod, it truly does take a village. I mean, we're literally right outside the doors of this podcast studio is the Gen Global Village, where it is entrepreneurial resources, it is founders, it is funders that are trying to globally help their community solve problems through startups and through small businesses. And so within your spaces, what are some of the things each of you represent unique capacities? So tell us a little bit about your space and then all of the different partnerships and ecosystem builders that you work with that make Oklahoma literally a gold star for innovation.
Yes. Oh, you looked at me again. So
I'll go.
Okay, yeah.
Chris. Well, I'll start us off with OCEAN.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of go back and forth.
Then we'll go back to you. Yeah.
So we're really excited this year, and actually, I guess in 2024 we launched the Oklahoma Commercialization Network, and so I'm going to introduce ourselves as that first because we're really excited to promote the fact that there is this network of organizations and resources in the state. So Oklahoma Commercialization Network, or OCEAN, is powered by OCAST. So thank you to the team at OCAST for not only financially supporting us, but also supporting the initiative throughout the state. And then the Verge OKC, Gradient, REI Oklahoma, and I2E are the partners in that process. And really the goal is as our organizations throughout the whole state are getting more and more connected to the founders, as well as investors and policymakers in the area, we want to make sure that everyone knows about all of the handful of resources that now we're talking about a larger mentor network, a larger advising network, potential funding, technical skills training so that, if you don't know how to use QuickBooks, REI probably is having a workshop on it. If you need to learn how to sell, Gradient and The Verge are probably having it. If you're wanting to go through a very structured program to learn, I2E will have those programs. So that would probably be one of the first ones I'd like to talk about, just from the standpoint of when I explain who we are and maybe even why we're here together. It goes well beyond just an organization name, but I think it's just also the collaborative work that us as individuals believe in.
Yeah, I think that was a good opening. Yeah. And then talks about how we have a network, and if we go down that line just a little bit, you have where we sit, which is Gradient and The Verge and REI. So Gradient, we focus on our space, which is the Tulsa ecosystem. And in the past 5 years, the impact that we've had in our economy, it's about $1.5 billion of economic growth just through what we do with entrepreneurs. In our space, we are it's a 112,000 square foot facility, one of the largest innovation hubs in the country. And in this space, we have I2E is there with us, right? It's one of the people that they have programs that run several months to kind of help entrepreneurs kind of map out being prepared for funding, right? Then we have other partners such as universities, such as University of Tulsa, Oklahoma State University, University of Oklahoma, OU, I should say.
You even have Tulsa Tech.
Yeah, we have Tulsa Tech.
In-house right now,
yeah,
don't you?
Tulsa Tech is there. And what they do is that these partners help with programming, helping us with programming. Tulsa Tech especially. Tulsa Tech probably has about 3 different classes a week that literally deal with upskilling. So this past, some of the past programs they had was if you need help with getting your trademark, IP, right? Intellectual property. If you need help with building a website, securing your website, mobile apps. We have things like that. We have resource partners in there that are, legal resource partners that'll help us with legal, financial, banking, right? Yeah. We have all these things in this space. So as an entrepreneur, they come in. I always tell people I look at the entrepreneur journey like college, where you have the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, right? So we have the programs and resources to help the freshman, which is ideation. person that comes out of the idea, to the person that says, I passed the idea, I got the business, I need acceleration, which is where our sophomore programs sit there. Then we also have things that help you transition to full-time founder. And then when you get into the space of grow and scale, then you have the incubator. Gradient calls it our Connect programs, which is our beginning, our Start program, which is like the middle, and then our Scale programs, which is like where you're growing. So that's what we do in Tulsa. And we love to have this beautiful network, like we all sit here and work together and do stuff, which is why we're here now.
Yeah. And I mean, the Verge OKC, very similar, 27,000 square feet, though.
I mean, it's a lot of space. It's so a lot. So it's two whole floors.
I get overwhelmed when I go to your space, but it's like a good, exciting, overwhelming though. But we provide co-working opportunities, whether it's for the day or for the month or even some annual pass options, co-working for office space. So whether you want to be a part of the incubator, and I like to tell people incubator means we want to be in your business as much as you're in our business. Because we want to make sure that you're growing and that you're continuing to grow. And we'll also let you know when things aren't looking great with your business. And so I think that has been a really valuable piece of both of our programs, is that then we're providing advisors and mentors within the spaces. We also have the I2E team at our space. We have Cortado Ventures and some angel investors that are located there as well. Some serial entrepreneurs, honestly, they wanted to grow their next business with other young people that are excited and growing. We have accelerator programs, workshops, and training. And, a lot of it is really tied around the network of people that we're working with. So very similar to Gradient, to have access to, those who are great in marketing and legal resources with OU and OCU and their entrepreneurship law clinics that provide free services. We're probably connecting more now to the universities with the students. We've taken on a couple more students are leading projects either for the Verge or for some of our members. Wow. So, you're getting consultants now with the universities, which I feel like a lot of people try to just show up at a university and say, hey, can a student help me? That's not the way that it really works. But now our programs can allow to make those introductions, which I think is great. But, when we think of also some of our partners, it even goes beyond just the entrepreneurship aspect. We have been fortunate to work with the Inasmuch Foundation in Oklahoma City that really supports community development, journalism, and education. But they have realized there's a piece to community development and entrepreneurship, and that we're helping to grow communities, create generational wealth. And so that has been really interesting, too, to just get a little bit more engaged in the Oklahoma City philanthropic community, too. What are some other partners that you all work with?
Oh, so when you talk about VCs, we have about 7, I think, VCs. Cortado is one of them. We have Plains Ventures we work with. We work with 46 VC. It's another one. There's so many of them to name. Please don't, if I forget your name, I'm so sorry. There's so many of them to name. We have about 7 accelerators in there. We do have the Ag House, Techstars, I2E is one of them. We have so many different groups of people that support us financially. When you walk in Gradient, this is just a plug to come to Gradient. When you walk in Gradient, there's 2 main spaces where you can see the people that support what we do. And we have support from family foundations. We have support from VCs. We have support from businesses, corporations in Tulsa that all see the vision of what we're doing and know the impact of how small businesses make up, 60%, I think it is, of businesses in America, and how small business is the backbone of communities.
Yeah.
If we lose small businesses, it's great to have the big corporations, but they're dealing with, on the enterprise level, things beyond the community, right? So the small business is really what runs the actual community, and Gradient being this hub with, all these resources, help businesses grow. So, yes.
Well, and I get to say that this is one area that OCAST gets to play a really incredible, unique role in, because we have some areas that deliver direct programs on behalf and to entrepreneurs in Oklahoma. Then we get to play a tremendous role in some services, and then also being that convener to kind of lead the charge and make connections happen. So would be completely amiss if I did not say those founders in Oklahoma, 2 of the biggest programs that they have is the Industry Innovation Program, which is a up to $500,000
I saw that.
matching grant
So that email
for some of the most highly competitive projects.
Right now.
We'll open up July 1 and close July 30. And then we also have the STEM Intern Industry Program, which is vastly different than other kind of intern programs when you think higher education. And what it is it's truly for the startup. They have the opportunity to scope out the project that they need on their terms, on their timeline, with their budget and their deliverables. And then we can help connect them into educational institutions to find students getting trained in what they need. Or if they have it, they can do that. And then starting probably, I think, just passed in statute and will go into effect on August 28th. Used to, that program was only for students enrolled in a degree-seeking program, so that would have been associate's level to postdoctoral. But now the state knows how impactful that program is, and it is now also eligible for students enrolled in an Oklahoma Career Tech. So that's going to expand the opportunity out, one, for our startups to get help that they need at all different levels. So starting at that certificate and their credentialed level through postdoctoral. But then the flip side of that is when we do look at the benefit to the students, it now is going to get us the opportunity to expose more students to true career pathways in STEM fields so that we keep them within the state and don't lose that opportunity. The other one
and we know we're talking about like our organizations, but all of this really ties back to like growing talent in the community. And because, I mean, that is unofficially, an organization that we don't talk enough about sometimes is the pipeline of talent, and that it can start very young.
And then a couple of the other ones just kind of want to throw out because the people and the founders first are what we do this for. But it takes organizations to come around them and instigate the progress, as we learned yesterday from Brad Fields.
I know. We're instigators in the
ecosystem. But some of those other critical components and partners out there, so you've already talked about the Oklahoma Commercialization Network. We also have the Inventor's Assistance Service delivered through the Oklahoma State University New Product Development Center. So they are the ones that can help prototype. They can help kind of figure out schematics and all of those things that when somebody is coming in and they have an actual tangible product and they're like, what do I do now? Like, I know there's 3D printers out there, but I have no idea how to do it. CAD drawing. 3D printers aren't easy. There's that service to help them. There's assistance with manufacturing through the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance. And then we have the Oklahoma Commercialization Center led up by I2E with The Verge, Gradient, and REI Oklahoma. And then we also have assistance through OK Catalyst for a small business research program. And they truly exist to help Oklahoma companies identify those federal Small Business Innovation Research Awards, or SBIR awards, that the federal government is getting out. So sometimes you have a technology that you know is going to be used in one industry vertical, but there's a government agency or a federal, a branch of our military that could use it.
Can I give an example?
Yes.
For anybody doing example. The one that I really liked that I heard about in the very beginning to understand it is Roomba vacuum.
Yes.
And that the Roomba was being created. They were trying to figure it out. And then there was an SBIR request to help create robots that can go into the minefields and find everything, so detect all these different things. And so they were funded through the government to build that, but in the same time working on the commercialized tech of a vacuum at your house. And so they were able to then get probably like $1.5 million by that point that they could then use to create something that people will have all over in their homes. So it just...
Well, and then the other one I want to make sure that we talk about is, once again, you're both, Tulsa and Oklahoma City, the two largest areas, but innovation does not just happen in urban environments. It happens all across the state. So we have a phenomenal relationship and partnership with the Oklahoma Farm Bureau. They have 2 accelerator programs that they run. One's ag tech specific, one is for any type, where they take companies and individual founders in our rural reaches of our state and put them through a really intensive program to help those founders get those ideas literally from their, the back of the cocktail napkin that we've always heard to actual commercialization. And then even within that program, they use so many partners to help. They brought in the Small Business Development Center. They brought in the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education with their business and entrepreneurial service divisions. And then the other piece that I've got to put in here is, Wade, you mentioned that Gradient has 7 venture capital funds.
Oh, man.
In space?
7 to 9. Yes, a lot of them right in the space here.
Kristin, you have 1.
We have 1 and then some angel investors.
Angel investors in the building.
Yeah, individuals.
The other piece that I want to make sure that folks know is you just mentioned 7, you mentioned angels in 1, and the one piece that Oklahomans might not realize is for startups within Oklahoma, there's actually a true fund of funds, of venture capital funds that have money that can only be invested in Oklahoma companies. So there are 6 that are rural, and then one of those is exclusively rural. So Plains Ventures, which is part of I2E, has money. Cortado, Boyd Street Ventures, 46 Venture Capital, and then the Oklahoma Life Science Fund. And then Kristin mentioned it. We have the Generation Food Rural Partners Program, which has funding available for companies that are in communities of 50,000 or fewer. So when people say we need funding and there's no funding in Oklahoma, I got to tell them there's lots of money in Oklahoma. And then we also have, you talk about traditional type funding, there's loans. And so TEDC manages a loan program that has literal loan dollars that are only available to Oklahoma companies within the state of Oklahoma. And there's tons and tons, and I'm going to steal yours of, I know I have left off a number of resources.
And we know this is overwhelming. Very much. And this conversation is overwhelming.
Oh, there's so many. Also. And so this is actually a good one. Places to look for this. I mean, I know right off the top of my head, if you are outside of Oklahoma City or Tulsa, you can go to Launch.OK.com and pull up resource directories. Yeah. Kristin, yours, we have launchokcmetro.com, and then what's the Verge website?
VergeOKC.com.
Yeah, and then we have joingradient.com. A lot of times we'll put resources on there as we still build out that website, but joingradient.com.
So the good thing is you were just given 4 different websites that give you access to almost everything and anything that exists in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the money. We've talked about the fantastic founders. We've talked about the organizations that help. As we kind of wrap this up, the future is incredibly bright.
Yeah.
In just a short amount of time, Wade or Kristin, whoever wants to go first, what do you think the future of innovation looks like in Oklahoma?
I'm going to let you go, Chris, on this.
So I think future of Oklahoma, I think there's a lot of brilliant startups we talked about. There's some upcoming startups that I think that are going to shake some things up that lets me know that Oklahoma is more than just an energy company or energy state. We have AI companies like Probound.ai who are building AI agents that's going to help companies that are startups kind of scale. You have companies like Love Mobile, who is a telecom company that's focused on giving back every single month, and you pay a cell phone bill. You have companies like Sir Tracker, who are putting a resource together for traveling nurses, right, to allow them to have the credentials. So when I look across the landscape of Oklahoma, there's companies like that gives me hope that these founders are founders that have figured out solutions that's going to help other companies scale or help communities grow, right? And I think when I look at Oklahoma, what's different for me is I see that the founders they have humanity at the center of their company. So when you look at that, if you keep that at the center of your company, I feel like it's a really good thing. Then we also have other stuff like tech hub designations, like, Tulsa has a tech hub designation. We have companies like, places like The Verge. We have places like Gradient. There's a desire right now for people in Oklahoma, even people that's coming to Oklahoma, to be successful. They have resources. They have desire. I talked to someone just recently last night from Texas that has a great brand, and then they have desire to build, and they want to come to Oklahoma because they heard that Oklahoma has this collaborative spirit. So I think that when we look across the landscape, there's a lot of resources here, a lot of schools, a lot of training that's helping Oklahoma. I'm going to tell you, just mark my words here. Oklahoma, you may not know about right now, but there's some things coming out of Oklahoma right now that's going to put us at the top of that conversation. And if you get here now, be a part of that ground floor building, you will benefit from it. Because soon it's going to be hard to get into this space because there's going to be so many great companies and ideas that's coming out of Oklahoma. So that's what I see for the future for us.
Yeah, I would say first word would be like boomerang. I've heard this a lot lately of the boomerang Oklahomans. So maybe you left for college, you left for a business opportunity, and now you're coming back because you're saying, oh, I see the progression. I see the community. I see, the music and the food scene. And, we now in Oklahoma City have Okana, which feels like you're at the beach. It is. It's a water resort in the middle of Oklahoma that was started with the Chickasaw Nation.
Yes.
And so there's just a lot of really exciting things that are starting to take shape in a state where housing prices are still fairly low.
Yes.
You can still be fairly young and purchase a great starter home at a good price. Our city, Oklahoma City, is now 20th in the country of a size. But I think, to Wade's point, a lot of AI, we started to have an AI meetup group at with Techlahoma at The Verge. And so they're getting excited about all of these new waves of things that are happening and things that could get built. And they did their first meetup and had about 40 people there to just say, like, we're all trying to get involved. We're all developers. We want to start new things. So I think even if you aren't technical, but you're wanting to get connected to people, Oklahoma is a great place to say, well, let me show up. Let me meet some people. Do I see myself here? Do I find a team here? And then you can, settle yourself in the space. So we're just going to see a lot of things happening, and it's just an exciting time to be here.
Let me plug one more thing.
Okay.
Because I want to set this up too. There are a lot of partners, global and national partners such as Microsoft, Google, Mozilla, a lot of different companies, big brands that you don't even know about are in Oklahoma helping and supporting. And I just want you to know that the big brands know.
Yeah.
They may not told you yet.
It's not just the Oklahoma City Thunder going to the NBA Finals. Us being here representing Oklahoma at the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. But Oklahoma in and of itself is truly on the big stage. And the future is incredibly bright for startups growing within our great state of Oklahoma.
Yes.
I want to thank you for joining us for this special Innovate That podcast from the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. We hope you have a fantastic day and come join us on the journey of innovation and grow in Oklahoma. Look forward to seeing you later. Thanks.